And I'm an alcoholic. I'm wondering who is Rodney talking about? Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate them. I was listening to my boy Larry beforehand, and I was sitting up thinking to myself, "Ooh, I'd hate to have to go after him." And thank you, Ali and T, for putting together this weekend and this lineup of people. I only have one beef with it, and that is for the West Coasters. Uh, man, uh, that's an early day. I tried to get on last night. I was working yesterday, and I was putting in a lot of work, and so I jumped on because it was still work hours for us, and field capacity, 1,000 people, 1,000 people. I imagine out of all the people here, it's 1,000 people, that we got to have some people who are new to our fellowship. We got to have some people who are new to our way of life. We got to have some people who probably have never um, been at one of our meetings physically. In this Zoom universe, I know over time I've met a lot of those people, and it strikes me uh, about my fellowship. 1,000 people, we get the opportunity in this time of isolation, in this time of crisis, it's time of fear for a lot of people. We rally and we do what it is we do. My sobriety date is October the 11th of 1986. And I've been with you guys now longer than I haven't. I'm 34 years sober and I'm 67 years old. And so that's more than half my life has been spent with you. I'm at my very best with you, and uh, and Larry and all the people who preceded me, and I know everybody that's on this lineup. So more than outstanding communicators in Alcoholics Anonymous, they live this thing. I'm tasked with talking about our 10th step. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Um, hmm. Why 10th step? I'm going to do some talking. I'm probably going to be intruding on some other steps. And I'm a guy who does a conference that's like this, and I really respect when people stay inside the guardrails, and I'm gonna try to stay in my lane too. But check this out, you guys. This program of this design for living that you introduced me to is not a paint by the numbers design for living. And this design for living that you guys introduced me to is not a series of discrete exercises that's separated one on the other. Even though we talk about take the steps in order, when you've done this way of life for so long, it just bleeds in. It's just your life. I heard a speaker share not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, that they don't do the program. This is their life. And I thought about that, and I'm like, wow, it's the way I live my life. You know, uh, I don't ever have to go back and think about whether or not I'm powerless over alcohol. As Larry put it, alcohol decided that for me. Thank you very much. Uh, Long time ago, I said, okay, I need to get the gorilla off me. You guys needed to get the gorilla off you. You told me how you got the gorilla off you was found a power greater than the gorilla. I said, I need to find a power greater than the gorilla. I'm willing to find it, even though I came to you guys skeptic, scoffer, cynic. You guys call me agnostic. Okay, but I'm willing to give this a try because the gorilla was wearing me out. I had a power greater than me. I needed a power greater than it. Got on my knees after that. And I did what it is that I've stood on the rest of my life on the pivot spot, made a decision. And in that decision, uh, uh, determined that I need a power to relieve me of what my real problem is. Bondage of self. Too much me. Too much me on me. Too much me between me and you. Too much me between you and the power. Too much me. But I can't just decide I want to have relationship. You know, my uh, uh, when I want to get in relationship, you know, or when I decide the relationship is valuable. If you knew and you're struggling with that, I'm gonna get to where we're going with the 10th step momentarily. And you're struggling with this idea of God, and you're struggling with this idea of relationship, and you're struggling with this idea of why do I need something bigger than me? If you see happy couples, if you cool going it on your own, keep going it on your own. If you getting results going it on your own, keep going it on your own. If you having a successful life, going it on your own, keep going it on your own. Here's the deal about all those questions though. I suspect you wouldn't be up in here with us if those questions were any of those questions were affirmative. If you were having a successful life, you wouldn't be here with us. If you were mad, if you were happy with the way things were going, you wouldn't be here with us. If you were uh, managing success, you probably wouldn't be here with us. So, and if I want a better way, I think about that. Sometimes, you might be lonely or you might feel alone and you might feel isolated and you might see happy couples and you might see people look like they're and successful. And the instinct, if it's not me, is to get resentful, get pissed off. Instead of seeing what it is they doing right, nah, that's fake. They lying. That ain't really happening. But if you tired of going it alone, in our second step, it says either God is everything or he is nothing. What was our choice to be? And maybe you just want to choose to be in relationship. Maybe you want to choose the possibility of happiness. Maybe you want to choose the possibility of success. Maybe you want to choose the possibility of having a key somewhere. Maybe you want to choose the possibility of not always bumping into barriers and roadblocks and banging your head again. Maybe you just want to choose that. Maybe I want to do and have the opportunity to see what it's like to hold hands like I see them doing. But see, when you see us holding hands, you can't see our partner. So you say to yourself, you ain't holding hands with nobody. They ain't lying about that. And then we agnostics said we had seen people surmount it, and we like to tell ourselves it wasn't so. But maybe you want to try that. And if you want to try that, because all of us here, none of us are here on our own merits. None of us are here because we pull ourselves up by ourselves. None of us are here because we've just desired to do it. We all want to have something better and something different. The desire by itself ain't doing it. And none of us are here, even though we are all here talking about our book this morning. That book is if you, none of us are here because of the book. All of us are here who are here. Most of us will tell you because we've taken the actions described in this book. Book is, Sandy Beach used to say, the book is not the treasure, it's the map. All of us are here this morning. Most of us will tell you God's grace. God's grace. Before we opened the book, before we had a sponsor, before we took any of these steps and any of the actions outlined in here, for some reason, there was there was something that stood between me and that last one. October 11th, 1986. On October the 10th, I couldn't put it down. On October the 11th, something happened that I didn't know happened. It didn't happen that day, but from that day to this, I haven't picked one up. Something stood between me. Make no mistake about it. That's something we call grace. And we don't control that grace. We don't create that grace. We can't predict it. You know, uh, we catch it. We catch it. And make no mistake, if you knew, we understand that's what we do. We know we ain't the grace creators. We know we ain't the grace starters. We catch it. And so then we get on our knees after we come out of that third and we do what it is that takes because the grace is always available. It's the receiver to supply. Larry talked about coming in on desperation. And that desperation, I think, it has an expiration date. That sobriety born to desperate. And none of us can tell you when that runs out. but that's not the main propellant in my fuel now, and it hasn't been for a long time. And so what starts happening then, when desperation meets opportunity, a window of grace opens up. We jump through the window and then we start expanding. We don't create the grace, we wipe the window because the grace is coming, but with the receiver is blocked. So we get on our knees. And so now we go about this business of window wiping, of looking, of seeing what's blocking us. And so we do an inventory. And we look at our resentments and our fears and our sex conduct over the years. And then we do the scary thing for a guy like me, because I'm a hider. I share it with somebody, you know. And I remember early in the book, it talks about abandoning old ideas, and letting them go. Absolutely. And the old idea for me is, you don't never tell your business. You know, you don't never. Men don't express weakness. You don't ask for help. And the cold thing about it for a guy like me is, even though I never asked, I always knew I needed it. I always knew. I'm a hider. But for me, what I didn't know, and the biggest secret I had was not to let you know I don't know. That's huge for me. Not to let you know that I'm scared. That's huge for me. Not to you. I was in the seventh grade, and when I was in school in California, we separated the grades. You got A and B because you could start school at a different time. And so anyway, I was in the A7. That's the last part of seventh grade, and I lost my math book, you guys. And I'm always in the top. You know, they didn't have AP classes, but inside the classroom, they'd have groups. They'd have the C group, the B, and the top group. And I was always in the top group. And I went that whole semester finagling and finessing, not letting the teacher know. And here's the deal, you guys. I don't know. I just thought about that as I'm sitting here right now. Here's the deal. Every day I'd have to go in school in the class. I'm terrified. Now looking back at 67, having taught before, having it wasn't even that big a deal. But when you live in your head like me, molehills are major. And I would be terrified this teacher would find at the end of the school year, I couldn't get my grades because we had to pay for that lost book that I had never said anything about being lost. And I had struggled cheating off other people's papers, talking to people after school, finding out what the homework was, writing stuff down to go home. Just, Ralph, what that got to do with anything? That's such a illustration of me in bondage of me. Man, I couldn't admit no week. I just, but I was always, but I knew in sobriety, but I know, so coming out of that. And so when you do that fifth step and you get squarely confronted with at first some of the grosser things, yeah, I lie, yeah, I'm a perpetrator. Yeah, some of the grosser things, I'm arrogant, uh, I'm controlling, I'm super overly sensitive. I can criticize you, but you better not say nothing bad about me. So come out of that and like and I love when Larry talks about being ground and that ego being ground enough, the humility enough to enter and say, okay, God, do something with your boy. Another surrender, another surrender in 6 and 7 to get ready to go, uh, you know, knee to knee, eye to eye, go see some people. I don't have to go back through that because Larry took us masterfully through that. And so when I come out of that, new friends, now um, you would think I'm good to go. You would think I'm good to go. Because for by now, at the 10th step, we are in the realm of the spirit. My next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. Whew, wait a minute. So the thing that I do, okay, check this out. So now we doing the damn thing, right? I'm a member. I'm a member in good standing, but the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, right? So the minute I'm on the team, so I've been a member the minute I express the desire, so that puts, but the only requirement for membership is not the only requirement for sobriety. It's not the only requirement for recovery. There are some other requirements for recovery. I always say, um, membership puts me on the team, but put me in the game. Everybody's on the team ain't in the game. So I started getting in the game, man. And the reason why I don't mind playing is because I'm scary, you guys. I just described to you how I'm full of bondage of self. I'm full of what I think you think about me. That I'm wrapped up in that. But here's another piece of me. Uh, um, and I guess I'm built this way. I got a mom that is a remarkable role model for me. My mom was she raised six boys by herself. I grew up in Watts in the 60s, tough town. I'm not a tough guy, and me and my brothers, me, Ronnie, and Reggie, especially high achieving guys, made my mama proud all her life. And I think that's good because we needed to call in that currency we had built up, because when we became young men, we needed all that because it took a while to lose um, all of what my mom thought about her boys. We used to be written up in the paper. We were first kids off our block. I was the first one to go to college, then Ronnie, then Reggie, always at all the school banquets and stuff. Mom's is proud. She's walking, getting trophy. But when we were young men, so we had built up a lot of equity, and so it took a while, and I'm grateful. But as at growing up as a kid in Watts, man, I never was a guy that thought I couldn't do anything. I never thought that. I always thought I would be somebody and I'd leave footprints. I always thought I'd do something in this life. I always thought that I'd make a difference in my community. I always thought and I thought wrongly that I'd have a lot of material success. Why did I think that? My mom was a domestic, and my mom was a lady raising six months. My mom was on welfare in the 60s. My mom put herself back through high school, put herself through college, worked two jobs, did all that stuff, always at all our events. Remarkable. Went back into a long career when she graduated from college, had a long, distinguished career in the insurance field. When she retired, had a lot of accolades. I saw a little, and here's the kicker. My mom was a church lady, big hat, front row, in everything at church. My mom was a church lady. My mom was a praying lady. My mom was when her boys went crazy, when we were all grown and all six of us were drinking and smoking. All six of us were in the life hard, hard. And my mom would gather some of us together from time to time and stand in a circle, and my mom would pray. And my mom, forget this praying we do. She don't do serenity. No, my mom be doing some serious putting in work praying. She put that kind of work in that everybody in the circle is crying. And when we leave the circle, we know we ain't doing nothing but I go outside and I got that thing. And it's impervious to frothy emotion, even though that seemed like it felt like it was impervious. But guess what? We just don't know the timeline. I used to say it didn't work, but my mama's still here. So even though them prayers looked like they wasn't changing stuff at first, it changed her for the stuff. And anyway, so I had these examples. So I'm a guy that, even though I'm scared, I'm not scared to play. I'm not scared to get in the game. I exhort people to do that all the time, but I have to realize everybody ain't built the same way. And when I play ball, man, I ain't trying to be on the bench. I ain't trying to be, I ain't trying to be a fan. I like being a fan of sporting events, but if I'm on the team, put me in the game. Put me in. No, I ain't scared of what come with that. No, put me in. Why? Because uh, I like I like uh, I want to say the participation, you guys, but in what it is we doing when you come from that living dead, I love the idea of coming back to life. I love participating in life. You know what else I like? As part of a team, I love that. I love interacting with you guys. I love the fact that I'm better with you than I am by myself. So I get in this deal, you guys. So now, now I'm in it and I start doing what it is we do. These ego reducing series of exercises. The third step, in the third step, you would think that when we get to that part where it says, God offer myself, to build me and do with me, is relieve me. And seems like I will be getting ready to say, relieve me of this overwhelming thirst for beverage alcohol. Relieve me of the desire to drink and use. We don't say that. I call it the bait and switch moment in Alcoholics Anonymous. Relieve me of what? Bondage of self. Too much me between. That's the whole rest of what we're going to talk about. That's what I'm laying the ground. It's too much me. Relieve me of bondage of self. Think I know too much. Think I know what's right for you. Think I know what's best for you. I'm too scared of letting you see the real Ralph. I don't even know who the real Ralph is because I'm a perpetrator. I'm what I think you need me to be in any situation. I don't show up in situations. I send my representative. And so this journey of discovery, I didn't know that's what I was looking for when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know that was waiting on me, and that ain't no end to no rainbow. I guess I didn't know that was waiting on me in the journey. And this relieve me of bondage of self. And I'm telling you, if you're new, fairly new, and recently just getting on this journey, bondage of self will reveal itself to you as you walk through this thing. I thought I knew. I thought I knew. I thought I knew what God is everything and He is nothing meant looked like. Till I realized and you ain't even ever had one of them moments. So I started getting on that journey, you guys. And so now I've looked at myself, I've digested some big chunks of truth about myself. I've surrendered again to the idea that I can't fix myself. Okay, God, you need to do what it is that you do. I'm like a car to get recalled to the manufacturer because a car don't work on itself. I don't work on myself. God, if you're working on your defects, that's like a car working on God, I need you to do for me what I can't do for myself. And check this out. Plus the fact it's through 6 and 7. That's my sponsor, Bob B out of St. Paul, Minnesota, says that's a design feature. A person is designed, we're designed, the defects are part of who we are. Anything that's not defective is what? Is God. That's the only entity we notice without defect. The beautiful thing about the deal that we have, though, is through our defects. That's why in the seventh of prayer it says, remove or do every single one that stands in the way of my usefulness. You mean some of what it is, me, broken, flawed, the way that I am, can be useful? That's what makes you useful. Dude, who you thought you were and who you thought you were gonna be, that ain't what makes you useful. I've been listening in this Zoom universe, you guys. I've been humbled. I've been humbled, especially on Zoom. I was humbled before. It's a lot of you guys that experience this on both ends. It embarrasses me sometimes. I hear a lot of the people I've had the opportunity to work with, a lot of sponsees and a lot of good friends, and I've heard some kind words about me, uh, and I'm humbled. Something just happened. Sometimes I'll hear it and I'll get a resentment in me because I'm the kind of guy that get resentful when it's too much on some. He ain't all that. I hear it about some other man. Come on now, and I get resentful about me if you put piled on too. You know what I'm saying? Rodney said some words right now, and the reason why people see me the way that they do, this is the humbling part, you guys. What I'm talking about ain't because I didn't came in here. I didn't meet none of what it is that I thought I would have to meet for people to look up to me. I have not achieved any of what I thought I had to achieve to get what I thought I needed to be okay in this world. I heard a speaker share one time, if you treat me special, I feel normal. If you treat me normal, I feel rejected. That's me. That's me. I don't know why it is, but I felt like I'm playing from being so high achieving for me was not achievement for the sake of achievement. It's achievement for the sake of you telling me I'm okay, so I could be okay, because I'm not okay without you telling me that. And the thing about you guys, the thing about my fellowship, and the thing about why my feet stay firmly planted is all these words and these things and this impact or whatever it is that I've been able to have with people. None of it has to do with any achievement or what I thought would be achievement. I get the opportunity to sponsor people because I've made a lot of messes and I've learned the lessons. Got a friend that says only two things happen: lessons and blessings. And for us, in the 10th step is where it is that we find the key in being an Alcoholics Anonymous long term and in being vital in the world and in being able to stand up as a grown ass man or a grown ass woman in your life. The key is not being right. The key is not being rich. The key is not being big. The key is not being growing understanding and effectiveness. Useful. Useful. You can't take that from, and anybody in here can impact that. But there's a price because you think when I get to the 10th step, it says so far by now we've been at the realm of the spirit. I got a new area code. I live somewhere else. Yeah, my address is in California, but I live in the state of grace. We call that the realm of the spirit, and the thing about it, Bill says, is broad, roomy, in all inclusive, never exclusive or forbidden. Sometimes steppers, 12 steppers, thumpers, sometimes communicators, sometimes people that open this book and bring it to life for people. Sometimes I can give the information and but sometimes it feels unavailable. Sometimes it feels like I got to be able to talk like Ralph. I got to be able to put it together. I got to be perceptive. No, no, you don't. No, you don't. In fact, when we do 1 through 9, this series of ego reducing exercises, a guy like me can use it as ego inflation. Do what I say. You can't tell me nothing. I know the book. I'll tell you the back. You want to know where it is? I'll tell you where it is. And that's the danger. In the 10th step, so what happens, Ralph? I've done these 9 steps and I've got the humility of sitting in front of other people. Shouldn't I be good to go? Shouldn't this be a 9-step program? What is it? I'll never rise above human. 10 step sees me coming. It's a design for living. And you guys, especially new people, this is how we live our life. So now we've done all this stuff. We've admitted we're powerless. We decided we need power. We said, okay, I'm going to turn to that power. I'm going to try to get relationship with that power. I do the steps it takes to clear away what's blocking me from relationship with the power. I share with some other people. I surrender again. Take this stuff from me that I can't take from myself. Make me better than what I am. I want to pursue that for the rest of my life. Now I go and I clean up the messes I made. Big boy stuff. Put on your big girl panties, your big boy pants. We getting ready to go knock on doors. And so now, ooh, wow, I swept away that. I should be good to go. Check this out. Ralph is still Ralph. And it got something for me. So what's your next job, Ralph? Your next job is to watch. Turn on your watcher. What am I watching for? Because I'm a watcher by nature. That ain't hard for me. But I've been watching in the wrong way. My watcher is untrained. My watcher is focused the wrong way. I watch you. I watch for you to make mistakes. I watch for you to slip up. I watch for you to give me an opening. I watch how you coming up short. I watch how you ain't doing everything you saying. I watch for, check this out, you ain't walking like you talk. I watch for all that kind of stuff, right? But now in the 10th step, no, 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 dude, Ralph. We know you think that you walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe, which now puts you in partnership. Well, it's a danger. I have a partnership, but I'm not in partner. See, partnership in an economic or a commercial concern means we have the same input. No, and sometimes I think that me and God, He needs my input. No, no, no. When did God, I had somebody come out and speak in my sponsor, even down there, and he asked a question. When did God start working for me instead of me working for? Remember, he's the employer. I'm the employee. You know, I'm just his agent. I'm his son. Most good ideas are simple. And so I'm like, okay, 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 okay. So turn this watcher on, Ralph. And what am I watching for? I'm watching for the same stuff sound like you guys had me right about. Wait a minute. I'm watching for resentment. I'm watching for selfishness. I'm watching for fear again and dishonesty. That's the same stuff I just wrote about not too long ago. Well, yeah, because guess what? You still Ralph White. You still Ralph White. You took an inventory when you were a couple of years sober. You were a year and a half sober. So that put you at about 34, 35 years old. So you were about 34, 35 years old, 2 years into doing this, 33 years into living life on self will. And the thing about this, when we come into this way of life, you guys, it ain't like it's a line of demarcation. Self will, God's no, it's self will, then it's self will and God's will. Even the rest of the time, it's still it ain't never just a clear demarcation where I'm ever totally getting out. So I'm always in this spiritual pursuit, man. And the thing that I do the most right now, man, is turn on the watcher. And so, but what's different? What's different in the 10th step than in the fourth step? I like to think of it like this, you guys. Remember in the fourth step, it took a while. It took some writing and it felt like heavy lifting because a lot of that was manual labor. I didn't have a relationship with the power. I'm trying to face and be rid of the things that's blocking me from the power. So a lot of that is manual labor. I'm doing this with an assistance, but I don't know. I'm not fired by the power the way I am. So it seems like you got to do a lot of writing, a lot of sharing, sponsor pointing some stuff out. But when I get to the 10th step, now we're working with power tools. Before we were working, it was kind of manual labor and it was heavy. But in the 10th step, working with power tools. So we can go through that really pretty quickly. This resentment, this fear. Sandy used to shortcut it. I used to get angry when I would hear him share because I used to love to hear him share process. And I used to love, but in his later years, he would just go straight to the intent. He said, Ralph, he wouldn't say, Ralph, I always took it as personal. If you disturbed about anything, you guys, this is what Sandy would say about the ending love. Say, if you disturb, you got two choices: amends or forgive. I say, it can't be that. He said, no, it ain't just that. You got a lot of other options, but they won't leave you undisturbed. If you want to be undisturbed, amends or forgive. If somebody really did do something to disturb you and you really know your hands, forgive. If you had a hand in it, if you set the ball in motion like me, almost all the time with me is that, if you stepped on the toes and they retaliated, amends. Amends or forgive. He would take the shortcut version because he had been operating in this spiritual realm for so long when you operate with power tools, man. But at the beginning, I needed to know. So I watched for those things. When they happen, because Ralph is still Ralph, I'm still me. I'm 67 years old, you guys. And there's some stuff in me and there's some defects in me that have been mitigated. They've lessened somewhat. But there's some people on here that can tell you that have been in close proximity to me. It's people sitting on these in these squares right now that'll tell you when you hurt his feeling, he pouts. When you hurt his feelings, he withdraws. When he doesn't get his way, he has to get the last word. He's moody. He's grouchy. Sometimes he's combative. Right now. But I'm gonna take it to the other. But new friends, you'll never hear Ralph White say, I am just as close as you. No. If this process doesn't work, why do it? I try not to be in other people's sharing and I try not to soapbox too much, you guys. I know there's value in everything. I don't think that there's any scrap metal in Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't think there's any mistakes in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I went through the phases of development before, where you hit the first phase when you read the book and you start going back to meetings because you just discovered the book, and you like Christopher Columbus is. And so you go back to meetings, and you now correcting everybody, you telling everybody about this new discovery. A 30-year-old old timer with 30 years is up at the podium, and he ain't quoting the book and the pages right, and you sitting back with your 2 years, and he killing newcomers. That ain't in the book. And you know, you go through them phases, and it ain't the quantity of sobriety, it's the quality of with your 2.5 and 3. Of course, that's what you got to say, because you ain't, if you me, I always got to discount you for me to, to elevate me. So until I get to my, oh yeah, but thank God I'm trained good. I was trained good by my mama, and I was trained well in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I've always respected my elders. I don't care. You kept the light on for me. I still do. If you were here for me, you kept the light on for me. You made it available. And so I don't believe there's any scrap metal in Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't believe, I used to say, because people would say, I don't drink no matter what. And I would be like, I do drink no matter what. What this kind of bullshit, and that ain't, take stuff in its context, Ralph. Take stuff in its context. The closest I came to drinking was 7 years sober. And I did not want to drink, you guys. That's the first time I came face to face with the concept of causes and conditions, because I always thought if I ever wanted to drink, it would be because I had the obsession. I came close to drinking without the obsession. I was out of town on a case. I was working at a law firm. We won this trial. We were in trial 2 hours from Los Angeles in Palm Springs. So we won the trial the first day of trial, through a motion that shouldn't have been made. Anyway, we were back in the hotel, and it was 7 people in this hotel room. Our client was a big client, the Walt Disney Company, and it was 7 people in this hotel room. The general counsel from Disney, another lawyer from Disney, another corporate person from Disney, their paralegal, 2 partners from my firm, associate from my firm, and me, paralegal, low man on the totem pole. And we were standing in a circle, and the counsel from Disney was pouring Dom Perignon, and he handed out glasses to everybody in the circle. I'm 7 years sober, and he's pouring. I'm the last person and he's gonna get to. And a zillion thoughts are running through my head, a zillion miles an hour. What are they going to think of me? Oh shit, what am I going to do? If I don't want to embarrass myself, I don't want to embarrass my firm, I don't want to look inappropriate. All they want me to do is sip. If I don't sip, they're going to know something's wrong with me. Oh, what are these? And these thoughts are running. But just like in the book, in the chapter 3, when it talks about parallel by sound reasoning, ran the insanely trivial idea, check out what happened as a result of having this spiritual experience 7 years in. Parallel with my insane thinking was this idea of I don't drink no matter what. I don't drink no matter what. That's all I could hear, you guys. I didn't hear any of the other, I have an allergy. No, I don't drink no matter what. I don't drink no matter what. And he came to me and I said, excuse me, Ed. And I stepped out the circle. You guys, I don't know what gave me that. Just enough meetings, just enough sponsorship, just enough force, just enough God, whatever it was, to step over to the sink in the room and get some water in my glass, and came back in the circle and toasted. I want to let you guys know, if you knew, you might hear some people say, you have to take the right actions, or you'll know when you feel comfortable. Taking the right action is not always comfortable. For 30 seconds, I was very uncomfortable. I thought they looked at me crazy. I thought they looked at me stupid, but that was about 27 years ago now. For 30 seconds, I was uncomfortable. For 27 years, I've been really comfortable with that decision, that I don't drink no matter. So I don't drink no matter what. It's not my program of recovery, but as a result of having a program of recovery, that's my anthem. And I learned, don't trip off so a lot of times people spend a lot of time knocking back. Don't worry about that, So that idea, so in that 10th step, that humility that comes from that. So I'm watching for resentment, dishonesty, fear, uh, the same things we watch for in the 4th step. And when these crop up, when, because dude, Ralph, you still you. You still you. and they crop up. Sometimes because they don't crop up that often, I'll think it's gone. I'll think I don't have it. Unfortunately or fortunately as it is in this case, that don't last too long. You know, that does not last long. So when these crop up, what do I do? Okay. So first I watch. Here's the one I miss you guys most of the time. When my dishonesty or my fear or my resentment or my selfishness shows up, most of the time I don't ask God at once. Most of the time I don't ask God at once to remove it. A lot of times I indulge it. A lot of times I still want to indulge it. You know, sometimes I have been looking at myself, guys, and easing into this. I'm glad God makes us the way He makes us. Because when you get to wherever it is that you are in life, you've eased in there before you know it. In my 30s, I used to say stuff like, uh, if I ever get to in my 20s, because in my 30s I was with you guys. In my 20s, and even later in my 30s, I say it sometimes. If I ever get to a point where I stay at home both nights of the weekend, all the time, shoot me. I'm done. I'm done. I'm dull. I'm cooked. I couldn't imagine a life because I was as addicted, to the alcohol and the drugs. I was as addicted to the lifestyle as I was to that. So before descending all the way down to when I wasn't doing nothing, I was a partying guy. I was a clubbing guy. I was a social guy. I couldn't imagine, life without life sitting because I didn't know you guys. And I never would have thought that I would happily be spending a weekend uh, in gatherings like ours. I would never have thought that. But life, God presents you when He presents you. And I don't know when I eased into this, and it was a point at which I couldn't imagine taking my fat being out the house. And so now I'm a grouchy old man sometimes, and I'm 67. And I'm good with me. This manner of living we talked about, you guys, in the 10th step. Uh, when they say God don't make too hard of terms with those who seek you. Well, what are the terms of engagement in the spiritual life? What are the terms? Because the terms in my personal life, here's the best way I can look at them. What are the terms of engagement for me in personal relationships, in family relationships, intimate relationships? Terms of engagement, uh, depending on your relationship, you got to know where you stand. With my daughters, remember, I'm daddy. Remember, I got the last word. Remember, I know best. Remember, don't be tripping. My youngest daughter, in particular, because she don't have kids yet, like my oldest daughter does. So my youngest daughter will sit up, and because she's 26 now, some of you guys have kids, and now she know more than us. She know more than me. She know more than me on every topic. Give you some suggestions, and you guys, don't get me wrong. I don't know why my life is like it is. I don't know why my kids, I don't know why. God just, He smiled on me. He smiled on me. Um, my chest is out. I'm not out, and sometimes I hesitate to talk about because I know a lot of people have challenges with their kids. I know a lot of people have challenges with the family. I know a lot, but my chest is out. My oldest daughter's a lawyer, and she's phenomenal. She's raising kids, and she's the best mom I know, aside of her mom. Aside of my mom, okay. Now I'm going down the list. Okay, okay. She's tied with the best mom I know. My youngest daughter, she's in the entertainment business and she's a rising, my son, my stepson, I don't talk about him a lot. And he was going left for so long. And his birthday was last night and we talked and he like, Pops, I see what you were trying to get through to me all the many years. How do we get to be those people? How do we get to be the ones that they turn to? How do we get to be the ones that they say, I see what you were talking about? When we were the ones they were talking about. We were the cause. We were, you know, that was us. That's what we bring to the table. So in that 10th step, I'm a meander because you know what you got. I don't talk about. I'm not one, and I love the way people have been talking. I don't see steps as seminar. I see a life you guys have given me, and I like to talk about how it manifests, how it looks, how living in the present moment looks. That's what the 10th step is about. Because in the 10th step, it would think that these ego reducing, my ego has been smashed enough that I went and saw people and I cleaned up my messes. I man up. I say, yeah, I did it. I don't make excuses for it. I don't dodge it. I don't duck it. I say, is it something you need to say to me? And I listen and I take it all in and I don't refute and I don't rebut. That's a hell of a position to take. That is humility at its finest. You would think I would go forth from that, but I don't. But I get up from that, and Ralph is still back. Bob Darrell describes it. He says it's like when you flush a toilet. When you flush a toilet and the water goes all the way out, what happens? Does the water stay down? No. What happens? It slowly starts right. That's how I am. I get in that ninth step and I'm all the way diminished. But all of a sudden, this ego slowly rises back up. And it slowly rises back up to where I'm talking to a kid at work and I'm talking, and the 10th step flush. It's what it is. It's fun. And so when I bump into you at work or in my or in life or in a set, whatever it is, the 10th step is life in the moment. How does living in this spiritual realm show up? For by now we living in the world of the spirit, and living in the world of the spirit it doesn't mean we in this segregated place where, man, all you, and I can go there. I can go there. I can go there. I can even want to have meetings that only include people that's right up. And I ain't not, I love all of it. I love it all. A long time ago, somebody was like, wouldn't it be great to have a meeting where it was just people who've all taken this stuff? And my sister-in-law, Shirley, said, no, what do you mean? It would keep out the riffraff. I remember Shirley saying, we are the riffraff. And it reminds me of something like being in a hospital with all doctors. What are we doing? I mean, it's cool to go to a medical convention, but when you want to get down, if you you want patients. If you in the recovery world, if you want to stay recovered, my very life as an ex-problem drinker depends on my constant thought. Oh, this is how I can meet their needs. My nothing ensures immunity. Okay, I'm getting into another step, but they all run together. So life in the spiritual realm is not, we this segregated society, but I can go there. I can go there. I could sit in the meeting. I could look at got Bill, and here he is bouncing. His ass is untreated. It's man. I try to stay as far away from making them kind of pronouncements, man, because that feeds. One of my biggest defects, man. I'm the judge. I'm the judger. I'm the critic. But you better not say nothing about me. You know what I'm saying? So that piece right there. So living in the spiritual realm, I'm really careful. When these crop up, we ask God, okay, ask. Usually I go from ask, I might skip ask, sometimes I ask, and I go to discuss. Spies, check this out. Somebody's tripping and where I done got sideways with somebody. I'm getting ready to let them have it. More often than not, for me, I get a call too. Spies, I just sent this email. Let me read it to you. Should I say, don't hit send. Don't hit send. In fact, we soon work our way from pretty soon, we might even get to the point where we don't even compose the email. We might even get to, and see, email is cool. It's this world so imposes the need for step 10 on people like us, man. Because I know I'm right. That ain't the deal, though. Do I want to be right or do I want to be effective? And the 10th step, it doesn't say growing in knowledge and information, growing in smugness and superiority. It says growing in understanding and effectiveness. Am I effective pointing out to you how you need to know how stupid you are, and you need to adopt my opinion of you over your own opinion of yourself? Do I want to be right or do I want to be effective? Don't hit send. And see, right now it's incumbent on us because we don't even have to go to a computer and an email. We can text it. We don't there was a little more of a buffer face to face, because there are things people won't say face to face that they'll text in a minute. I text it in a minute. And the thing about texting is, I believe that when I'm doing this, because I'm operating inside my brain, I believe when I'm doing this, I'm conveying my true feelings. Ain't no tone, ain't no texture, ain't no tenor, ain't no nothing in a text. So what I think I said and what they reading, to the 10th step is so vitally important in this world of instant, in our world of instantaneous, and so I go into that, oh my God, so then, okay, I discuss it, talk to somebody on the spot a lot of times, and I'm not going to parse it because it ain't that important, it ain't that serious. People say I do a 10 step a night, and really in the book it talks about 11 step review. It's a double lint trap, I call it. If I miss it in the day, I catch it at night, in the 10th, but who cares? Do it. Arguing, folk be sitting around, that ain't a tip. That's it. Did you do it? Did you do it? If you did it, that's a good argument to have, what step you calling it, long as you did it. But to be sitting up, I don't know if that's and you ain't done it, get out of here. So catch it right there. So now I'm gonna ask God, I'm gonna discuss it with somebody. Then after discuss, man, you know what? I tripped. I tripped. I'm gonna go make it right. I'm gonna go make amends. I went off on this kid to work for me when I was still at work. This is when my character defects worked for me too. Um, and I went off on John. He was working for me, and you guys won't believe this because I'm the spiritual guy, and I don't. But I was at work, and he said one too many things to me. I'm like, man, dude, how can you be so stupid? How many times we gonna have to go over this, John? Don't bother me with this. And I said BS, and I didn't say BS. I said, what? Don't bother me with this again. And he got embarrassed, and he got hurt, and he was in his feelings, and he was like, Ralph, can we talk? What part of don't talk to me about this again don't you understand? And I was a supervisor. So it's kind of tense. This is a Wednesday, and I didn't ask God to remove it. I watched. I knew I was in resentment, but he deserved it. He had got on my nerves one too many times. I knew I was in resentment. I don't know nobody else go here like that. But at that time, I'm probably about 29, 29, 30 years sober. Fine example, Alcoholics Anonymous, but life is still, dude, people, still messy, still, but check this out. And ain't gonna die from, and I don't excuse it, and I don't condone unacceptable behavior from me, but I no longer expect that there's gonna be a time when I rise above the human, and when I'm better than that, when I'm better than that's what keeps me from standing in the circle and saying his ass is untreated, because I look the same. I'm capable. All that means is I'm disconnected right now. You know what I'm saying? And I need to get that same understanding. I won't have that kind of understanding if I don't go to them places myself. I won't have that kind of empathy, and I won't have that kind of compassion. And beyond all that, beyond putting a nice face on it for that, that's still, hardwire, hardwire, hardwire. I'm big brother. I got one brother older than me. I've been hardwired. I'm right. Listen to me. Get the last, if you get me and my brothers together, all of us will get the last word in, guys, too. And we go hard at each other in the paint sometimes. And I get embarrassed about it, you know. But anyway, so I'm going in. It's Wednesday. I come back to work Thursday. We still kind of, you know, he ain't saying nothing. We work right across from each other, and I'm holding this. You had it coming. You bought this one, you gonna ride it out. Self, you know, smug, superior, all this should have had my ego reduced. Ego is flaring. I'm the boss at work, all this, right? But I got to speak in San Diego Friday night. And I've been doing this long enough to know, you guys, you've done something to me. You bring stuff out of me. Uh, you've positioned me differently. Uh, this process has really transformed me in a real way. Not just to come in here and talk about it because you guys ask me to talk sometimes. You know, it's in a real way, it's done something. It's taken my defect to good use. You guys are the only place I can come and shine the light on stuff I wouldn't shine the light on and get supported and get made to feel. See, for me, I wouldn't be, a lot of people say, Ralph, you had a humility and you had an honesty. And I don't feel like I have humility, and I don't feel like I'm really a butt naked honest guy. But I feel like I'm useful and I'm purposeful with you. And so the trade-off is worth it. The trade-off is worth it. You know, I like being grown, and I like walking with my head up. I like my grandkids looking at me, and it's not enjoying a reputation that I don't deserve. I've been in every function. I've been in the delivery room. I've been in every program. And I didn't know that's what this deal would look like. I didn't know. So my defects, the ones that I really don't want nobody to know about, you guys celebrate them. You make it a safe place. And more than you make it a safe place, you speak to my biggest defect that's in me, that need for to be somebody or for approval or whatever. And not somebody in a superior way, just to be, just to have value, just to have purpose, to a life of intention. And when I get naked, you don't celebrate me if I got a new car or if I got a bunch of money or if you celebrate the me and me. We celebrate the you and you. Game recognized game. We know when you perpetrate. Oh, but we know when you authentic, when you transparent. We when heart speaks, heart hears. We know it. We bring it out in each other. You know, and so I was getting ready to speak in San Diego. It's Friday during the day. And I know what you guys have done with me. Oh shit, I'm supposed to be done? Oh my God, how did the time go like that? Oh shit, Ali, I'm sorry. Okay, I gotta finish the San Diego story. I knew I was gonna have to share.
Keep going, keep going.
I knew I was gonna have to share. So I said, John, I apologize, dude, because I don't like to share without a happy ending. I like sharing my stuff with you guys, but I need to have a happy ending. So I made it right with him. Oh my God. I'm like, an hour is way too long. What happened? Okay, before we get out of here, you guys, please indulge me. I gotta leave us with the 10-step promises. They are the promise, because after I do I make amends, and then I turn my attention to somebody I could help. That's the fifth part of that, of the 10th step. Watch, ask God, discuss, make amends, turn my attention to somebody I could help. That is the 5 elements of the 10th step. And then when that happens, we have ceased fighting. My favorite promises. I wanted to talk about them. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. For by this time, sanity has returned. Promise of the 2nd step. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. My name is Ralph White. I am an alcoholic.